If you have someone that you don't see on a regular basis, yeah, 3 times a night. When I see you 3 times a night.
Okay.
And if you can't hang, goodbye.
Really?
Under the blinding spotlights and hit songs celebrating independence, the hip-hop world of top female rappers is always gilded with power, diamonds, and pride. However, when the velvet curtain falls, the dark corners behind that glamorous facade reveal tear-soaked love stories, drowning in lust and humiliating tragedies. From abusive relationships that drained their youth and blind carnal infatuations, to dark scandal spirals tied to notorious moguls like Diddy, their paths of love are paved with cruel traps. When love is replaced by lust, manipulation, and power, is what they get in return a peaceful haven or just a bleeding, thorny castle? Let's step into the most scandalous dark corners to strip away the truth behind 15 hip-hop queens who are deeply entangled in the addictions of lust and love. 15. Yung Miami, the whirlwind of lust and the shadow of the devil Diddy. Caresha Brownlee, or Yung Miami, the fiery rapper of the City Girls duo, always preaches a manifesto of women manipulating men with their physical seduction. Ironically, however, her primal desires and money-scented lust pushed her into toxic relationships where she turned herself into a dark puppet. Her first stormy romance was with producer Southside. They threw themselves at each other with intense carnal passion, using passionate nights to cover up their clashing egos. But that primal lust quickly morphed into a suffocating chain. The more compatible they were in bed, the more Southside revealed his toxic control. He would throw money at her, buying a G-Wagon after nights of ecstasy, but immediately threaten, curse, and insult her on social media when his sick jealousy flared up. Miami thought she could use her body to bind a powerful man, but ultimately found herself drowning in an endless, wild loop of sex, arguments, and emotional abuse. The ultimate humiliation, however, truly hit when she fell into the arms of mogul Diddy. Swallowing her pride, Miami entered a calculating, open relationship where lust was traded for limitless black cards and luxurious yacht trips. She was infatuated, drowning in the desire to belong to a king, proudly flaunting her intimacy with the mogul. In return, Diddy delivered a stinging slap to the face by casually welcoming a love child with another woman. Miami's physical transaction ultimately only bought her the title of a puppet in his harem, shattered under the ruthless manipulation of a powerful man. Today, as Diddy's empire crumbles under a barrage of shocking sexual abuse and sex trafficking allegations, Yung Miami frantically cut all ties to save herself. The dream of using lust and beauty to climb to the pinnacle of fame has shattered, leaving a struggling Miami to wash away the humiliating stains of the past, embracing a bitter lesson about the cost of gambling one's body for scheming devils. 14. Lil Kim, fanatical love and the blood-stained arms of the mafia. Canduder Kimberly Denise Jones, or Lil Kim, is the pioneer sex symbol of the hip-hop world who used steamy lyrics and bold physical displays to build an empire. But behind her confidence when singing about lust, Kim's real life was a series of tragedies where she used her body and fanatical love to beg for connection, only to receive beatings and bullets in return. The biggest tragedy of Kim's life was named the Notorious B.I.G. Kim worshipped him with a crazed love, throwing herself into the arms of a married man with a fierce primal desire. Steamy, secret nights in studios or hotels became a drug Kim couldn't quit. She accepted being the other woman, using sexual compatibility to delude herself about her position. However, what she got in return were humiliating jealousy brawls, ruthless coldness, and even violent strikes from the very lover at the peak of his fame. Kim gave her body and soul entirely, but remained forever just a shadow in the dark, until Biggie was bloodily assassinated, leaving her in utter despair. Carrying a shattered soul, Kim sought comfort by falling into the arms of Damian "World" Hardy, a notorious gang boss. This romance was ignited by a wild and dangerous physical attraction. She thought the lust and power of the underworld would protect her, but the relationship turned into a dance of death. The more he desired to possess her, the more the mafia boss imprisoned Kim in paranoid jealousy and suffocating violence. Their carnal infatuation was drowned out by gunshots and bloody gang purges, forcing Kim to flee with countless physical and emotional wounds just to keep her life. After tasting the absolute limits of the price of violent and toxic carnal infatuations, Lil Kim in her 50s has chosen to close herself off. Walking away from ruthless men and bloody nights of ecstasy, the Queen Bee now only seeks quiet peace beside her young daughter. The ruins of a time when she used her body to hold on to love are now just bleeding scars in the memories of a legend. 13. Nicki Minaj, Wild Dreams and the Toxic Castle of Love. Annika Tanya Mirage, the great queen named Nicki Minaj, always dominates the stage with her voluptuous figure, fiery curves, and unapologetic aura. It seemed as though she held the power of life and death over all men, but deep down, Nicki relentlessly threw herself into romances, drowning in primal desire, only to be continuously slashed by betrayal and toxicity. Nicki's youth was bound for 12 agonizing years to Saweetie Samuels. They came together through the mutual reliance of two souls yearning to change their lives and the burning physical passions of their humble beginnings. However, when lust was no longer enough to bridge the gap in their statuses, Saweetie became a petty, jealous man, suffocating her with toxic control. The romance ended in disgrace with violent outbursts and humiliating public feuds as the man she once shared a bed with ruthlessly drained her to the very end. With a heavily scarred heart, Nicki hastily fell into the arms of Meek Mill, craving a fiery fusion of power and lust. They flaunted their love through steamy red carpet kisses and provocative touches that caught the public's eye. Nicki fantasized that intense physical passion would provide a sturdy shoulder to lean on. But alas, that fiery lover constantly dragged her into a quagmire of childish feuds and exhausting drama. Behind the passionate nights was an impulsive, irresponsible ego, making Nicki bitterly realize that physical compatibility cannot compensate for a barren soul. Shedding the fake glamour, Nicki sharply turned back to her first love, Kenneth Petty, craving the most raw and primal connection from the days before the limelight. However, the price of this blind carnal infatuation was horrific. Kenneth carried a dark criminal record and had to register as a sex offender. In exchange for passionate nights with the man who understood her best, Nicki had to face the wrath of public opinion, probation orders, and the contempt of the entire world. Today, Nicki Minaj is a mother, bracing herself to protect a home swamped in controversy. Despite the gossip about her husband's moral stains, she seems to have accepted risking her grand reputation just to hold on to a selfish emotional and physical satisfaction. Under the spotlight, people watch in pity as a powerful queen locks herself in a thorny castle, stubbornly protecting a primal romance even as it erodes her every single day. 12. Megan Thee Stallion, Physical Passion and the Gunshot, Piercing the Night. Megan Jovan Ruth Pete, globally hailed as Megan Thee Stallion, is the absolute symbol of fiery seduction and the movement for liberated desire. Showcasing a voluptuous beauty and a powerful manifesto of autonomy in both love and sex, it is bitterly ironic that the very romances rooted in intense physical infatuation pushed her into the most agonizing tragedies. Stepping into the limelight, Megan was quickly swept into a relationship reeking of money and lust with rapper Moneybagg Yo. They came together through primal desire, flaunting their love through lavish parties and unabashed physical affection in public. But a love fueled by intense lust burns out too fast. Compatibility in bed wasn't enough to cover their clashing egos and control issues, causing the flame of love to quickly die out in cold, indirect jabs. Craving stimulating thrills halfway up the ladder of fame, Megan fell into a blurry relationship filled with liquor and physical attraction with Tory Lanez. Initially, it seemed like just an entanglement of lonely souls finding each other to satisfy emotional and carnal cravings after all-night parties. But Megan never expected that lust would drag her to the bottom of the abyss. Behind the passionate caresses was a toxic ego and sick jealousy. The fateful party night in 2020 turned into a bloody nightmare when Tory shot her in the foot over a senseless argument. The man who was passionately intimate the night before became a devil, destroying her honor the next morning, followed by a vicious media smear campaign to deny his crime. With a shattered heart and depleted trust, Megan fell into the arms of partisan Fontaine, craving a sanctuary for both her body and soul. They were once so wildly in love that they couldn't stop exchanging longing looks and provocative touches on the red carpet. Party filled her physical voids and comforted her through a stressful chain of lawsuits. Yet the end of this extreme passion was a highly suspicious silence, followed by humiliating rumors of betrayal that crushed the female rapper's last remaining shreds of fragile trust. Today, after her abuser Tory Lanez has been locked behind bars, Megan Thee Stallion is gradually crawling out of the ashes of lust-driven romances. Still maintaining her fiery look, still rapping about her deadly allure, Megan has now chosen the single life and become more closed off. She pours all her biological energy into hitting the gym, healing her mind, and growing her career. The hot girl has realized that no matter how intense physical desire may be, it is never worth gambling her body and soul on men who aren't worthy. 11. Chrisean Rock, Crazy Instincts, and the Hell of Violent Love. Chrisean Malone, or Chrisean Rock, emerged as one of the most bizarre internet phenomena in hip-hop, with her wild appearance, missing tooth smile, and reckless personality. Lacking any earth-shattering hit songs, what kept the public's eyes glued to her was a wildly chaotic personal life where the line between a craving for love and self-destruction was completely erased. The biggest romantic tragedy of Chrisean's life is named Blueface. The romance started on a reality show drenched in sexual elements, where girls threw themselves into competing for the male rapper's physical attention. Chrisean fell into Blueface's arms with intense primal desire and a heart starved of affection. Unbridled sexual lust and physical infatuation bound these two together, creating an explosive but incredibly toxic emotional bond. To exchange for passionate nights and the feeling of belonging, Chrisean discarded all her self-respect. She frantically tattooed Blueface all over her body, fully surrendering her flesh, turning herself into a puppet in her lover's hands. But behind that blind sexual satisfaction was a living hell. What she received was not protection, but shocking public beatings, explosive fistfights on the streets, and brutal psychological manipulation. Blueface casually exploited her infatuation and desperate emotional needs to turn the relationship into a money-making circus on social media. They tangled together in a craze of wild sex, then tore each other apart till they bled before millions of curious eyes. Chrisean fantasized about using her body to hold on to a true love, but ultimately buried herself in a quagmire of violence and possession. The price paid for a romance soaked in lust and violence was a grim separation. Both Blueface and Chrisean constantly ran into trouble with the law, having to trade their youth and freedom behind cold prison bars due to their out-of-control lifestyles. That loud romance left behind a helpless baby boy caught in the eye of a scandalous storm created by his own parents. Chrisean Rock drained her youth, beauty, and future for a toxic relationship, leaving a heartbreaking testament to the cruel tragedy of a woman blindly using lust to beg for a soul connection. 10. Lauryn Hill, the sinful affair that brought down an empire. Lauryn Hill, the angelic voice of the legendary group The Fugees and the mastermind behind the unprecedented masterpiece, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Yet, behind the voice capable of soothing millions of souls was a bleeding heart, drained by illicit, ambiguous romances and sinking deep into dark desires. Lauryn's tragedy began when she got entangled in a secret love web with her own bandmate, Wyclef Jean, a married man. Amidst the glory of tours, their musical synergy gradually mutated into physical obsession. Long nights in the studio or luxury hotels became the sanctuary for a highly sexual secret affair. Lauryn threw herself at Wyclef like a moth to a flame, giving her most intense infatuation, hoping the man would leave his family for the sake of their love and sexual compatibility. However, Wyclef only saw her as an illicit sexual fulfillment. The tearing jealousy, guilt, and ruthless psychological manipulation from Wyclef turned this relationship into a toxic grave, burying both Lauren's sanity and the existence of the famous Fugees. In a desperate attempt to escape the physical vortex with Wyclef, Lauren fell into the arms of Rohan Marley. The craving to fill her emotional void and physical needs made her quickly sink into this intense romance. The drama reached its peak when Lauren became pregnant with her first child. The sexual ambiguity was so bitter that Wyclef initially mistook the child as his own. Lauren bore Rohan a total of 5 children, using physical bonding and motherhood as an attempt to tie down the fantasy of a perfect family. But the humiliating truth was that Rohan was also hiding the fact that he was still legally married to someone else. After more than a decade of tangling together without a proper title, that lustful and primal romance ended in immense bitterness when Rohan turned his back to pursue younger women. After having her youth, body, and soul drained by unworthy men, the female legend chose to live a closed-off, reclusive, and highly guarded life. The men who walked through her life left indelible scars, making Lauren eccentric and frequently erratic during her rare tours. Abandoning material passions and worldly lust, Lauryn Hill is now immersed in spirituality, relentlessly searching for peace to mend a soul that shattered under the spotlight. 9. Cardi B, Flesh Infatuation and the Humiliating Loop of Lies. Belcalis Marlenis Almanzar, or Cardi B, skyrocketed from a stripper in New York clubs to a rap queen holding a series of prestigious world records. Carrying a rebellion and primal desire showcased through every fiery lyric, Cardi's love life was just as loud, wild, and steeped in toxic tragedy as her music. The fateful love and also the biggest nightmare of Cardi's life is named Offset, a member of the hit group Migos. They threw themselves at each other with intense physical infatuation, unafraid to show off steamy intimacy and provocative touches from prestigious red carpets to social media accounts with hundreds of millions of followers. Their explosive compatibility in bed seemed to become an invisible chain binding Cardi to this man. She even once publicly admitted that intense physical craving was the reason she set aside all self-respect to return to him after their fights. However, a love nourished too heavily by lust and instinct turned out to be a sharp knife slashing her heart. While Cardi devoted both her body and soul, craving a complete family home to compensate for her deprived childhood, Offset continually used his promiscuous nature to trample on his wife's pride. Time and time again, the public was stunned by leaked sensitive videos and humiliating exposés of Offset's affairs with numerous mistresses. Every time a scandal broke, Cardi would scream in pain, filing for divorce in court to preserve her last shred of dignity before the public. But then, the tragedy of physical dependency repeated itself. With just a few coaxing words, luxurious diamond jewelry, and passionate nights of reconciliation, she would blindly withdraw the papers, obediently falling back into the arms of the man who betrayed her time and time again. Their marriage turned into a scandalous circus lasting for years, where lust, jealousy, and toxic forgiveness tightly intertwined, draining the female rapper's emotions. After years of locking herself in a tear-soaked loop of sweet lies in bed, Cardi B seems to have reached her final limit. Even while pregnant with her third child, she has once again firmly filed for divorce, demanding custody and determined to cut ties with a man who never knows when enough is enough. Instead of blindly chasing love-drunk highs, Cardi is now learning to be cold, pouring all her mind into protecting her children and her million-dollar empire. The fiery rapper finally painfully realized that even the most intense carnal desires cannot salvage a marriage that is rotten and riddled with deceit from the inside out. 8. Saweetie, the elevator fall and the disguised facade of love. Diamante Kiava Valentine Harper, better known by her stage name Saweetie, always appears before the public as the sparkling, luxurious, and centimeter-perfect icy girl, championing a lifestyle of independence, luxury, and not weeping over men, yet hidden beneath her haughty exterior and outfits flaunting her fiery curves, Saweetie's love life is a contrasting portrait filled with humiliation, deceit, and suffocating dark corners. Her most highly publicized romance, which also left the deepest wounds, was with Quavo, the frontman of Migos. They started the relationship with highly primal flirting messages on social media and were quickly swept up in intense physical attraction. For years, Saweetie and Quavo flaunted a love steeped in money and lust. They didn't hesitate to share steamy kisses and passionate, intimate gestures in public, using luxurious gifts like Hermes bags or a Bentley supercar to measure and heat up that fiery love. The compatibility in bed and the glamorous exterior made Saweetie think she had found the perfect haven, satisfying both her romantic cravings and physical desires. But the truth behind the passionate nights and paparazzi flashes was terrifyingly dark. The man who cuddled her and poured sweet nothings into her ear the night before was the same man stabbing her in the back with countless humiliating affairs. The fiery love morphed into a mask covering ultimate toxicity. The tragedy climaxed when security footage from an elevator leaked, capturing the two in a physical struggle so violent that Saweetie was knocked to the floor. The whole world was stunned to realize that behind the physical intensity was a rotting relationship where respect had been replaced by violence and ruthless possession. Saweetie later spoke up, ending the romance in bitterness, admitting she had endured too much betrayal and trauma behind the scenes. After the shocking disillusionment with Quavo, Saweetie continued to get tangled in a complex web of love with Lil Baby, or loud, lust-driven reunions with rapper YG. It seemed she still craved emotional fulfillment through fiery romances, but the end result was usually fractures caused by the massive egos on both sides. Having gone through tear-soaked lessons from gambling her heart and body on fake glamour, Saweetie is gradually sobering up. She is choosing to protect herself more carefully, focusing on building her commercial empire and her own music career. The icy girl finally understood that a bed, even if covered in roses and diamonds, cannot bring happiness if the person lying next to you only brings deceit and deep wounds to your soul. 7. Eve, the sex tape and the trap of dirty money. Eve Jihan Jeffers, the sole female figure and first lady of the legendary Rough Riders empire, is always remembered for her edgy, pitbull in a skirt image, full of personality and fearing nothing. Yet, behind the aggressive rap rhymes and her careless exterior, Eve once went through a youth slipping into traps of the flesh, sugar-coated lies, and deep psychological wounds inflicted by terrible men. The lust-filled romance that stands as the most humiliating stain in Eve's life was tied to Stevie J, the Playboy music producer notorious for his scheming in the entertainment industry. Back then, Eve fell into Stevie's arms with the infatuation of a young girl desperate to be loved and supported both in music and in the bedroom. They drowned in a physically intense relationship where primal obsession blinded her to the signs of a toxic narcissist. But Eve could never have imagined that the man she gave all her trust and body to would deal her a fatal blow. The tragedy peaked when their private sex tape was leaked, pushing Eve into an agonizing nightmare of humiliation. The man who murmured sweet words in bed the night before indirectly turned her most sacred intimacy into a mocking joke for the entire world. That ruthless deceit and trampling of her dignity tore Eve's soul apart, plunging her into a deep pit of depression for a long time. It didn't stop there. Like a moth craving to fill a void, Eve continued to throw herself into a highly risky romance with Teodrin Nguema Obiang, a notorious playboy and the son of an African dictator. This relationship was lit by lust, the temptation of money, and limitless extravagant partying. Eve was swept into the vortex of million-dollar jewelry, romantic private jet trips, and drowned in physical mesmerization. However, a love bought with dirty money quickly turned sour. When Teodorin was subjected to international investigation for a slew of money laundering and corruption charges, Eve was shocked to realize she was ultimately just a luxury toy, a trophy in bed for a powerful man to flaunt his status. Much luckier than many other names on this list, Eve managed to wake up before completely losing herself. After a youth drained by manipulators and users, she decided to leave the drama-filled world of American hip-hop behind. The pit bull in a skirt wiped off the mud, stood up, and found a safe haven beside British billionaire Maximilian Cooper. Far removed from romances filled with bedroom calculations and deceit, Eve now lives a quiet upper-class life, being a mother and enjoying a true marriage where physical connection goes hand in hand with absolute respect and protection. 6. Trina, total devotion and the ultimate draining pain. Katrina Laverne Taylor, or Trina, is forever the illustrious baddest bitch of Southern rap. Famous for her bold bedroom anthems showcasing physical cravings and lust-filled declarations of power, Trina always exuded the unbothered vibe of someone mastering the game of love. However, beneath the proud shell and highly stimulating lyrics lay tear-soaked love stories, where she was continuously hurt by the very men she devoted her body and soul to. Trina's deepest and most bitter love affair was with Lil Wayne. They fell into each other's arms through the synergy of wild souls, wrapping around each other in love-drunk hazes and intense physical desire. Their compatibility in bed once made Trina dream of a peaceful haven. She accepted his proposal, carried his child, and was ready to shed her rebellious image to be a family woman. But tragedy struck when Trina suffered a painful miscarriage. While she was at her weakest and needed comfort the most, Lil Wayne revealed an uncontrollable, promiscuous nature. His insatiable external lust trampled on Trina's pain as he simultaneously got other women pregnant. That humiliating shock tore Trina's heart apart, forcing her to walk away from a romance she had loved with every ounce of her instinct and life. Before she could even heal her broken heart, Trina once again poured out her heart and body when she fell into a love web with rapper French Montana. It was the same intense infatuation. Trina gave everything she had. She opened her home to him, using passionate nights and even her own connections to elevate her lover's career. Yet what she got in return was a bone-chilling betrayal. The man who had caressed her and made promises in bed ruthlessly discarded her the moment he got a taste of fame, hastily running after the superficial glamour of Khloe Kardashian. That cowardly deceit made Trina bitterly realize that her physical desires and devoted sacrifices were ultimately just stepping stones for others to advance. After tasting every sour flavor from greedy lovers, Trina learned how to hide her heart. Stepping past the humiliating ups and downs, the once renowned baddie now chooses to love quietly, without showing off, and highly guarded. Trina finally understood that even the most intense, passionate nights can never hold on to a heart that inherently carries the seed of betrayal. 5. Foxy Brown, Empty Vows and the Game of Broken Engagements. Inga de Carlo Fung Marchand, stage name Foxy Brown, was one of the most prominent rap icons of the 90s, with her sexy style and outspoken personality. Unlike her confident rap rhymes mastering the game, Foxy's romantic information is a series of volatile relationships, characterized by flash engagements that were then called off. The most notable was her public relationship with male rapper Kurupt in the late 90s. The two were engaged, but later broke up in extreme tension, leading to a series of heavy diss tracks aimed at each other. Later, she found a connection with dancehall star Sprague Benz. They got engaged in 2001, sharing a deep bond musically and emotionally, but eventually went their separate ways quietly and amicably. In addition, Foxy Brown was rumored to have dated Jay-Z in the early days of her career and had a brief fling with Rick Ross. Her relationships frequently ended in the headlines due to her rather hot-tempered personality. Currently, Foxy Brown chooses a completely private life. After experiencing health issues regarding her hearing and some past legal troubles, she has practically withdrawn from the entertainment industry, keeping her personal life under wraps and staying far away from the romantic drama that once shook the hip-hop world. 4. JT, Frantic Jealousy and the Violent Clown Show, Under the Lights. Jatavia Shakara Johnson, or JT, the edgy half of City Girls, has a romantic record that isn't overly long but is extremely loud and heavily reported due to her deep relationship with male rapper Lil Uzi Vert. Starting to date publicly around 2020, news about their romance often revolves around two intense emotional extremes. When things are good, Lil Uzi Vert constantly buys JT McLaren supercars, luxury jewelry, and the two have matching tattoos. However, when conflicts arise, the public is continuously subjected to witnessing impulsive actions on social media, unfollowing, deleting photos, locking accounts, and attacking each other via Twitter statuses. A prime example is the altercation at the 2023 BET Awards, where an angry JT threw her phone at Uzi right in the middle of the audience seats out of jealousy. Despite constantly breaking up and getting back together, JT always shows loyalty and defends Uzi against public judgment. As of now, the status of their relationship frequently falls into an undefined gray area. However, JT is focusing heavily on developing her promising solo career. She is gradually limiting the exposure of her romantic conflicts on social media to build the image of a more independent and professional artist. 3. Dream Doll, the fleeting haven of lust in hip-hop. Tabitha Robinson started her career on reality TV shows before pivoting to become a rapper. Information about her love life has always been heavily exploited on gossip blogs, featuring a roster of boyfriends that includes many familiar names in the entertainment industry. Most notable is her relationship with Saweetie Samuels, Nicki Minaj's ex-lover of 12 years. This romance sparked countless public controversies on reality television. Afterward, she spent some time dating Tory Lanez, the male rapper currently serving a prison sentence for the shooting of Megan Thee Stallion. Her constant involvement with highly scandalous figures frequently dragged Dream Doll into internet debates. She also publicly dated male rapper YBN Nahmir, but the relationship ended quickly. Her list of rumored flings extends to Bankroll Freddie and French Montana, showing that her love life rotates continuously within the hip-hop circle. Recently, Dream Doll has become much more private about her dating life. She is striving to shake off her reality TV star image to be recognized for her musical abilities. Instead of grabbing attention through romantic relationships, Dream Doll is currently prioritizing building her personal brand and enjoying her luxurious lifestyle. 2. Coi Leray, rushed romances and cruel media retaliation. Coi Leray Collins is one of the most prominent Gen Z female rappers today, possessing a fiercely strong personality and a highly public dating history that often ends in tension. Her most famous romantic news is tied to male rapper Trippie Redd in 2019. Though they initially appeared as a sweet couple, their breakup became the epicenter of bad blood. After going their separate ways, Trippie Redd inserted resentful lyrics about Coi Leray into his song Leray? In response, Coi Leray also released diss tracks and made harsh statements, sparking a prolonged media war. Then, in 2021, she publicly dated Canadian rapper Pressa. The relationship lasted about a year with many affectionate red carpet photos, but ultimately dissolved in silence, accompanied by cryptic social media posts. Her straightforward, confrontational personality ensures that news of her romantic rifts always draws attention. Currently, Coi Leray claims to be completely focused on her music and enjoying the single life. The female rapper is reaping major commercial successes and showing more maturity in keeping her personal issues private, steering clear of romantic drama to focus on maintaining her status in the music industry. 1. Azealia Banks, the 7-Day Romance and the Delusional Breakup Script. Azealia Amanda Banks is a talented artist who single-handedly hindered her career with shocking statements and feuds with countless celebrities. Romantically, news of Azealia's dating life isn't overly dense, but every time it surfaces, it comes with bizarre developments. Her most public and serious relationship recently was with artist and designer Ryder Ripps. The two unexpectedly announced their engagement in early 2021. However, just a mere week later, Azealia confirmed she had called off the engagement. She offered a slew of confusing reasons and publicly criticized her ex-boyfriend on social media. turning her love life into a strange topic of discussion. In the past, she also had some lesser-known relationships with industry figures like music manager Dave Holmes. Overall, with Azealia, romantic relationships always seem to lack stability due to her erratic personality. Today, Azealia Banks lives a secluded life in Miami, focusing on her healthcare soap business. There is no official information about her dating anyone. Her psychological instability ensures that the personal life of this female rapper remains forever a portrait of deep loneliness and controversy. Behind the brilliant spotlight and fierce, unapologetic declarations, the stories of these 15 female rappers have exposed a harsh truth. Power, money, or ultimate seduction cannot guarantee true love. The wild carnal infatuations, the sweet nothings whispered in bed, or the backing of powerful men ultimately turned out to be nothing but illusions, leaving them with patched-up scars on both their bodies and souls. Even so, after all the humiliating stumbles in the toxic quagmire of love, they are still striving to wipe off the mud, stand tall, heal themselves, and reclaim control of their own lives. Which female rapper's romantic tragedy leaves you the most heartbroken or haunted? Which story left you completely mind-blown? Drop your thoughts down in the comments section below so we can discuss. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe to the channel to keep me motivated. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming videos exposing the most shocking and dramatic dark corners of the entertainment industry. Thanks for watching, bye for now, and see you next time.